All right, guys, Duels of Runeterra number 13 has happened. It has come and gone, and I am here to bring you some of the top 16 gameplay. So we're actually going to get started with the top 8 here. Going to try to get the top 8, top 4, and finals all out for you guys in one day. And for this first match, we got BrusiedByGod, who needs no introduction, versus Cephalapod, who probably at this point needs no introduction as well, as he has also been a regular competitor and a regular well-performing competitor at that. So as always, now the format is actually bring 3 decks, no ban, best of 5. So all 3 decks are going to end up getting played as long as you make it to game 5. And for BBG, we have Misfortune Sejuani. So a little bit of tempo aggro there. Then we also have Lux Thresh, who, I mean, he pretty much has coined this deck. He brought it to Fight Night. We've seen it all over this tournament as well, with lots of people deciding to go ahead and use that deck as well. And Swain Ezreal, which seems to be one of the more popular ways to play Ezreal, even above Karma Ezreal. Cephalopod, on the other hand, decided to go with the Ezreal TF version of the deck, which again seems to be more popular than the Karma version right now. Your typical mid-range Frostbite, which we've seen almost everybody bring to the tournament at this point. And also Lux Thresh, to the point where actually the name of the deck is just called BBG Net Deck. So yeah, so if that gives you an idea as to who kind of coined the deck, there you go. So let's go ahead and get into game 1 of the top 8 of Duels of Runeterra number 13, Cephalopod versus BrusiedByGod. Though. So this should be a hell of a game. I'm going to go ahead and pull up BBG's. Hopefully they get started quickly with all of that just happened. That's going to be a little rough.
BBG has to find everything on GeoTracker. He's got to find the arena, the venue. He's looking for Duelist Island right now, waiting for his opponent.
Ooh, Duelist Island. I like the reference. Duelist Island. Let's get it. All right, let me, it looks like I got everything set up here for dual hand action. And we should be pretty good. I'm actually, before this game starts, I'm going to see if we can bring our special guest in quick.
Okay. I'm like thinking of Fight Night where their special guest was Ruben Zoo, and I was like, who's our special guest? Is it anywhere near as special? And the answer is yes.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that, so I'm glad you went in that direction. Oh, she's special. She is one hell of a special guest. I'm not going to lie. Let's see. Let's see if we can get her in here in a second. Right, I want to get it before this game happens. It looks like, he just completely confused me. BBG brought up the Runeterra ban, and I was like, wait a second, hold on, what's happening? Are we in the same tournament? What's going on? But yeah.
So if you were wondering how long that series actually went, according to Smash GG, they are currently 108 minutes in.
I was just gonna ask, how long did that game go? That's an hour, more than an hour and a half, almost an hour 45 minutes. That's wow.
That's more than an hour 45 minutes.
Oh wait, God, I still can't do math. Hour? No, wait.
No, hour 48. Okay, I was thinking it was like an hour 50.
All right,
yeah, I guess it's an hour 50.
Every time, pronunciations, math, can't do any of it. All right, we have the special guest. We have everybody. I have a new puppy right here. Say hello to Stella. Literally 9 weeks old. If you guys aren't smiling right now, you got problems, right? I'm just gonna.
I'm smiling, but there's this pit in my stomach that tells me this dog's about to piss on your keyboard.
As if we didn't already have problems earlier. So she's gonna. Stella, do you know who's gonna win the next round? Is it gonna be BBG or Cephalopod? All right, sure. Her psychic abilities have chosen BBG, so we'll see.
Oh, okay, I thought they hadn't kicked it. I had no read on what she was saying. She just kind of nuzzled you. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's her communication, man. It's just like sign language.
I have to look it up because I'm pretty sure I know what a cephalopod looks like, and I'm not 100% that I do.
It's like a shell. It's like a
I'm thinking of the one of the fossils from the first Pokemon game.
Yeah. Ooh, what's the name of that Pokemon? Who's that? I wish I had a who's that Pokemon screen I could throw up right now.
Pokemon fossil.
Yeah. It's it starts with an A, I think.
This just says fossil Pokemon, but it is the picture of the Pokemon I am thinking of.
I think it starts with an A.
Oh my god, just tell me the name of this little rock boy who I'm literally looking at. Ammonite.
Omnite, yeah, okay, cool. I still do know my Pokemon. Okay, awesome.
Started with an O though.
What's up, Stella? I know Stella looks like she's had a really rough day. You know, she has a hard life.
You two are telepathically linked, so she did have to share in that suffering.
Yeah. So special guest, maybe not quite like Ruben Zoo, but you know, she gets the job done. I wonder what her thoughts are on the patch updates. I don't think she could give nearly as good of a patch update as Ruben Zoo though. I gotta give Ruben some credit. He's doing a good job at the patches right now. So, all right, say bye to everybody, Stella. One last. Here you go. It's like, do you think she knows that she's like on a stream? Like, a bunch of people.
She's like, she knows she's looking at something, but she's like getting retina scans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get her in the doggy door a little easier.
So, all right. So it looks like they are about to, just in time for meeting Stella. It looks like we are about to get into game one after a hell of a long game. We have game one of Cephalopod versus BBG. Let's go.
I was going to ask why you're never grabbing from Cephalopod's perspective, but his stream did see to be... No, his stream was a little ahead, right?
I
mean, it's fine. Both players have the proper board, so I'm down to watch either one. I love this board so much. I cannot express how good
yeah,
this
you
board
tweeted about this too. I'm on your team with this one. I do think it's a pretty awesome board. I'm not gonna lie.
It was more expensive. It's the most expensive board, because it's apparently an epic board instead of a rare board, but 100% worth it. The music's beautiful. I've always loved the like cherry blossom aesthetic, specifically out of Riot, and everything that they've kind of done with that aspect of Ionia.
Yeah, I gotta say, just the whole Spirit Blossom like package, the way that it's like $10 or whatever to get everything is super super cool. So good on Riot again with making this game as free to access as possible, even though I know that costs money, but it's still, in the grand scheme of things, it's hella cheap if you guys have ever played any other card game. I remember the days of buying $120 boxes of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, okay? Just to dig for something that you don't even get.
I actually almost regret spending money at the start of LOR just of like how many resources I'm stockpiling like a dragon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
I saw the PNZ Noxus, and I know we've been talking about Swain Ezreal all day, but I really thought this man was playing Jinx Draven here.
No, I would like... We have not seen Jinx Draven all day, unfortunately, though. But we are seeing yet another Ezreal deck that is not Karma Ezreal. So I had made the prediction earlier that we were going to see no Karma Ezreal in the top 8, but it did look... I adjusted it. In my defense, I adjusted it in round 9. That we're just seeing...
Yeah, when you saw a Karma Ezreal win and move on to top 16.
Don't blow up my spot, all right? Just chill out, all right? That'd just be underrepresented. Well, I said that because in a lot of the tournaments I've seen over the last few days, every Ezreal deck's being played, and Karma is just not really seeming to be the most popular one. It still seems good. I mean, we've seen it do Karma Ezreal things with lots of Mystic shots coming out in one turn, but it just seems to be the lesser of the decks right now.
So I am curious to see how BBG is going to navigate this matchup, because as we all know, BBG has been accredited for this Thresh Lux deck by pretty much everybody running it here, which means he should be the person that is most adept at understanding the weaknesses of this deck and trying to figure out where he can get his wins in with sort of these cards. You know, understanding that turn 4, kind of a weak spot for the deck. Brazil Ranger is really the only phenomenal play that they have, but Cephalopod does run it out. And House Spider is a card that I've been torn on in... We typically see it in like control Noxus decks, sort of like the Hapless Aristocrat to just get out these early blockers. And I feel like it's one of the cards that I've seen players clog on later in the game. Do you have any thoughts on House Spider?
So I've tried playing it in a few different decks too to just kind of swarm the board. I mean, House Spider in any sort of Ezreal deck to me is just that player conceding that they're worried about aggro and they're worried about like mid-range, right? They need chump blockers to avoid getting aggro down early on. I think we're in a format or a meta right now that has a lot of relentless pursuit, a lot of rallying, a lot of just like big wham turns that can just end the game for you. So if you are able to get just one extra chump blocker down, I think it does monstrous amounts for your entire game.
Yeah, and maybe I ran into problems with it because back when like Twisted Fate Swain first became a deck, it ran 3 House Spider, and it definitely felt like the weakest card in the deck. But with Static Shocks and Progress Days, BBG's going to have a lot more draw power available to him, and maybe these dead, quote-unquote dead cards don't matter nearly as much.
And
We don't see a block onto the Grizzled Ranger. Has the 1/1 Spider, which is, sort of the best block you're ever going to get down onto this, but decides that he'd rather leave that around than let it become a loyal Badger Bear.
Yeah, and lots of options for BBG right now too. He decides to go with the 4-cost Swain, throw that bad boy onto the field. We see 2 Ravenous Flocks in his hands now. He does have the Leviathan that could potentially come down next turn as well. Leviathan, kind of, if Cephalopod is able to get a Lux down later on, Leviathan is a little bit vulnerable. We can see there's really just single combats right now in Cephalopod's hand. Oh, sorry, never mind. There's a Vengeance all the way off there in the corner. So that Vengeance could take care of the Leviathan pretty quick. So as BBG, I mean, do you think you just try to jam the Leviathan down as quickly as possible? Or, I mean, what are you waiting for to play this Leviathan?
I mean, I think because it gives you a Swain, there's nothing you're really waiting for. Vengeance is sort of the one answer that can come out of Cephalopod, as well as Concerted Strike. There are Concerted Strikes in this deck, right? Okay, yeah, there are Concerted Strikes. So that's one of the problems you're going to run into, is there is a lot of removal for both the Swain and the Leviathan, which is one of the problems that we saw out of Karma Ezreal, was that they didn't have a lot of answers. It was really just Will of Ionia and the Thermogenic Beam, neither of which was super mana efficient because Will of Ionia doesn't actually kill the unit. But this deck, you've got, all the answers you could possibly dream of. You do just kind of want to jam out the Leviathan because I think it's unreasonable for you to try and bait out the removal in other ways because you have so few units.
No, I agree. So a couple things here too. We can see that BBG is actually trying to save the damage on this Swain here, and I like this, right? So to your point, if he does get the Leviathan down, that's just going to force out removal on the side of Cephalopod because now you have the dream of Leviathan Swain on the field. And, I mean, that's just tough in and of itself. And even if it does get removed, well, guess what? You got more Leviathans and Swains that you're eventually going to draw into, and that's kind of the goal, is as long as you can just keep setting up that combo. And if you can get it before the Lux gets set up, definitely huge. And shout out Salty Simon CG. Thank you for the raid, my dude. I think Salty, was he in top 16? I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that.
That sounds correct. Salty Simon, yeah. Actually, just lost to Annie Desu in top 8.
Oh, Salty. Sorry to hear that, man. Annie, a difficult opponent for sure, but good to have everybody from the stream here. Welcome aboard to this top 8 train, going to the finals for Duels of Runeterra, number 13. BBG versus Cephalopod right now.
I actually wanted to see if we could get a finalist before this side of the bracket finished off, but our 2 top 4 contenders, Jubilu and Annie Desu, are on opposite sides of the bracket, and Agigas and Nunez are looking at like 1-1. So maybe we actually will see this side of the bracket catch up.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath. I think we might actually have a finalist before this is finished, so we'll see if that's the case. But yeah,
we're seeing a proactive Unyielding Spirit, and BBG is actually just 1 damage shy of proactively removing this. With the Gotcha, Mystic Shot, and Death Sand, it only represents 4 damage onto this tough unit. And tough is a keyword that is very important in this current meta. We don't see it on a lot of things. It's really just Vi and Radiant Guardian, but as it continues to sort of, make a name for itself on these 2 units being so difficult to deal with, I'm curious to see if we can see a return to something like Chain Vest.
What, people just deciding to play Chain Vest?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Possibly. I do still think Chain Vest is a pretty good card. And which makes you think, too, because I still think that Ranger's Resolve is super, super OP for the cost of the card. But when I say that and then think of Chain Vest, I'm like, all right, well, then Chain Vest is actually pretty good, too, because you get to keep the tough and negate, ideally negate some sort of spell that your opponent played, right? So, yeah, I mean, maybe that'll be interesting if we do see that. But we do see the Dream on the board, sticking on the board for now with the Leviathan and the Swain.
Yeah, and we do see Concerted Strike and Vengeance out of Cephalopod and exactly enough mana to play both of them. Whatever gets Concerted Strike can live. BBG has the option to kill anything that isn't the Radiant Guardian that's going along with that, which means it will only hit something for 5. Could throw down the Ezreal here to just really get as many... literally every threat in BBG's deck is about to be on the board.
Yeah, wow, Ezreal hitting the field too. This just feels kind of bad for Cephalopod. It's like, at what point... So he has Vengeance and he has Concerted Strike to deal with, multiple things here. But I guess the question is... I mean, there's just a lot of options. There's so many different lines of play that Cephalopod could take. I mean, you could Vengeance the Swain, you could Vengeance the Leviathan. What do you start with here if you're Cephalopod?
I think it makes more sense to Vengeance the Leviathan.
Oh, well, that's an easy question to answer now. You saw the answer.
I was going to say Vengeance Leviathan, Concerted Strike the Swain. You have single combat for the Ezreal on the following turn. Oh, did he have 2 Vengeances? Or is Cephalopod's hand just behind?
No, I think he might have 2. I think it's because the hand went a little bit over. So let me see if I can actually expand this a little bit.
I was going to say, because I didn't see a second Vengeance in there. I don't know if I'm blind, but...
Yeah, I'm going to try to... How big is his hand right now? Yeah, I'm just going to make it a little wider here just in case.
No, it looks like his hand is just that far behind.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry, on his stream. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So now we get the single combat down onto the Ezreal. You can sort of wait until the next turn to actually kill the Swain, as it's not really representing much. Although I do believe... Nope, not going to be the case, actually. Oh, right, because it didn't deal any damage. But I'm pretty sure when Cephalopod plays single combat, I think that actually gives evolution ticks towards BBG's Swain. Didn't happen here because it was an Ezreal onto a unit that's both tough and can't take damage, so no damage came through, actually. But that is something that could come out to play, not necessarily in this specific matchup, but maybe in the top 4 of the finals.
Yeah, now Cephalopod with another decision. All right, he's just going to go ahead, end the turn. It is Cephalopod's attack turn, so we'll see what he decides to do here. I'm curious to see where he uses this for Demacia. I feel like we did see a for Demacia go off earlier, but it was kind of like towards the end of the game when it was already over.
Yeah, it was hyped versus Endure Spider, so
yeah.
Cephalopod?
Yeah. So I think it was actually Cephalopod. And but it was, I mean, the game was for the most part over. It didn't have a huge impact on where the game went from the beginning
Sorry,
of the game.
It was hyped versus Anidesu.
Cephalopod
played Topher. We caught the end of that one.
Gotcha. And I'm curious to see how he utilizes it in this particular matchup. I haven't really seen... I see Vanguard Sergeant be played in all these decks now, and it hasn't been played in a while. It's starting to pop up more often. I haven't really seen too many impactful plays with For Demacia, so I'd like to see it used in a good way here. I'm very curious to see how Cephalopod does it.
So if BBG can actually have this Swain survive the Concerted Strike, which is looking sort of likely, there is a Vile Feast to help clean it up if the Swain doesn't level. Then we could... Oh, now the Swain actually is going to level, and that takes Concerted Strike off the table for the time being. I don't think there's anything BBG can do to protect this from the For Demacia Concerted Strike, but, now he has the option to start stunning out this Radiant Guardian and actually getting through damage onto his opponent.
Yeah, I got to give the advantage, at least right now anyways, to BBG. He seems to be in a pretty commanding position, when you got Swain on the board. He gets the Swiftwing... I mean, all right, listen, Swiftwing might help here in a little bit. Not going to lie.
I'm pretty sure Cephalopod is in complete control of this game. BBG just has all removal in hand, and Cephalopod has an Undying Radiant Guardian. Although I think the Progress Day is where we could see things swap over to BBG. Because once this Concerted Strike comes out, Cephalopod's out of removal. And if we can see a Leviathan come down for Cephalopod or for BBG then, Cephalopod doesn't have an answer for that. And if we can see that developed alongside the Swain, then he's going to have that perma-stun onto the Radiant Guardian, and it doesn't matter. But BBG's got to find that first.
Yeah, he does have to find it, but that's one of the things I wanted to mention, right? I mean, that was before Unyielding Spirit got nerfed, so it was only a fast spell. One of the ways to combat it, because it was so prevalent in the meta, was like, okay, you either have like Swain Sejuani on board, Leviathan Sejuani or Leviathan Swain, and either one just makes it so that card just no longer matters now because it can't do anything. So if he is able to get that onto the board, then yeah, I think he's going to be in a commanding position. I'm not sure. We saw Vengeance come out. How many Vengeances is Cephalopod playing?
2.
Okay, so there is a possibility that even if BBG does get down another Leviathan, I mean, he has 3. We could make it to the point where he plays the 3rd, but we are still seeing a Concerted Strike on the side of Cephalopod too. So for at least for the time being, if that does actually end up happening, it looks like Cephalopod will be able to deal with it for now.
Okay, I don't hate this. So BBG goes for the Mystic Shot, and that is going to stun the Radiant Guardian, and then with no Fearsome blockers, Swain's going to be able to get through. So it looks like BBG's actually trying to bait out the For Demacia this turn.
Ooh. Is this like a 10-headed play to get this For Demacia out? That would be nice.
Concerted Strike we know isn't going to work out because of all the Ravenous Flocks in BBG's hand. And I think 2 of those are Swain's Ravenous Flocks, which he does want to play before the real one, just to get those shuffled back into his deck for when he does find a Leviathan.
Yeah, especially because this game is going to be a little long. So I'm pretty sure he'll make it to the point where he does draw those again, which is exactly why I think we will have our finals competitor before. I don't think it's going to catch up. So yeah, we'll see what Cephalopod decides to do in response to this. And all right, looks like nothing for now. And we'll see if the 4 Demacia ends up. Yep, and here it is. Very well-timed, awesome heads-up play, really, from BBG to be able to get that out of Cephalopod. Now, I'm just curious to see how he ends up responding to this.
I think the response. Oh, no, I was going to say the response could be progress day, but you don't want to open yourself up to the concerted strike by tapping out.
Oh, is he gonna? I was gonna say, is he gonna concerted strike here? He could glimpse the spider, but then he puts himself out of range of the concerted strike. And
this concerted is a little spooky just because Ravenous Flock currently is an option. I think it makes a little more sense to concert it after the 4 Demacia goes off so that you have the 8 attack Radiant Guardian to take out the Swain no matter what.
Yeah, we'll see what he does here. This is a really interesting interaction. And it looks like he's going to decide to...
Is that a Vile Feast?
Yeah, why is... I'm trying to think of why he...
I mean, it'd come out before the 4 Demacia and still save you a little bit of HP because BBG can still fire off a couple of shots at Cephalopod's face to stun more things because this Death Hand currently will stun the... Oh, that doesn't work how Cephalopod wants it to.
What, like avoiding the 1 face damage?
Yeah, he should still take the 1 face damage, which will stun that. He will get another Spiderling, which is going to eat another...
Okay, wait, I'm confused.
Okay, so what's happening here? BBG's going to Calling Strike this. This denies the 1/1 Spiderling that would have represented a blocker for the Swain. BBG might have something close to lethal here.
Okay, yep. Yeah, so yeah, I don't think Cephalopod was thinking that it wouldn't hit face. I think he's just thinking he wants the additional blocker. And okay, now we're going to see the glimpse finally come out, and that's probably A-okay on the side of BBG. Wow, that was one hell of an interaction there. And Jack, yes, I believe at least are 2 of those flocks Swain or just 1?
I believe both 0 mana ones are Swain.
Okay, yeah, I agree too because I think they were all reduced cost when they came out. So wow, that's an attack. Doing a lot of damage to Cephalopod there. The 4 Demacia will basically save most of his units, though. He's probably thinking about, flocking one of the Swiftwing there, which makes sense. Like we're saying, we want him to get these Swains back into this deck. And yeah, wow, great turn planned out there by BBG. I think that was fantastic. You look puzzled. I'm looking at your face here. And
it's because the random elite hasn't appeared in Cephalopod's hand yet, but a Thresh has. From I believe the Glimpse Beyond, and just the idea that like he got Thresh off of his Swiftwing Lancer.
Oh yeah, no, his stream's just a little bit behind, so it looks
okay.
Like,
so it was useless, is what his elite was.
Yeah, wait, what does that one even do again?
She costs 1 less for each elite that you've played.
Okay, there we go.
I know it's Vanguard Squire, I want to say, but it's actually Cythria. She just doesn't have Cythria in the name.
Why are they gonna do that?
I know, right?
How many Cythrias can you get in this freaking game?
Okay, so this is what I was talking about way earlier on with the House Spider. You know, we see this Progress Day fired off, and now this House Spider really doesn't represent anything for BBG.
No, yeah, and this is where House Spider becomes useless, right? Like when you're up against something like Lux Thresh, it doesn't do anything late game. But that happens with a lot of decks. When you're building decks, you're thinking about what the common matchups are going to be. When you're trying to tech against something like aggro, it might not exactly be useful for something like a control matchup. So I can see where the decision was made and why it was made. But yeah, I got to agree with you. Right here, not so hot.
Yeah, and BBG really has to find Leviathan soon. He has another potential to go for a big push with the Swain on the following turn with the double Mystic Shot. I don't think he has the opportunity to play around Concerted Strike now, though, especially now that the Thresh is on field. So we could even just see Cephalopod proactively fire off this Concerted Strike to kill the Swain with this Thresh, and it's going to be Vile Feast instead.
And yeah, I'm curious to see what Cephalopod does next here. What is the... Has luck? There hasn't been a Lux yet, right?
No.
Wow. Okay, so Cephalopod's still digging for a Lux. BBG's still digging for a Leviathan, although he has already gotten 1 down.
I mean, BBG can also draw Ezreal. This is an Ezreal deck.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And given everything that has gone on, I'm pretty sure it's leveled. I'm a genius.
Yeah. Oh, wait. And there's Mystic Shots in hand? What was that? Like, This is one of the reasons why I love Ezreal Swain, because it's an Ezreal deck that doesn't rely on Ezreal. I think I was actually kind of categorizing decks for an article that I'm writing, and I didn't include Ezreal Swain in the OTK side of Ezreal. Like Freeze Ezreal and Karma Ezreal, similar. I don't actually include Ezreal Swain in that mix.
I don't think anything except Karma Ezreal is really an OTK. Outside of that, they're usually chip damaging you with units, and Ezreal's finishing off like the last 10 or so.
Well, maybe not like when I say OTK, I don't mean like 20-0. But when you look at like Freeze Ezreal or
OTK stands for one turn kill.
Did anybody specify 20 damage, Boulevard? You could kill him in
a one turn kill.
Yeah, but maybe it's one turn kill once they're at 14. Okay, all right.
That's not a one turn kill. That's just a kill.
But like Freeze Ezreal, Karma Ezreal, Draven Ezreal, I all put in the same category personally. So I do like this Swain version. I think this is a healthy version of an Ezreal deck if there ever was one.
Healthy Ezreal. Bullshit propaganda.
God, we're getting into propaganda now on stream. Jeez.
I think we did earlier. There was like some kind of Noxian propaganda I was talking about. But I mean, Cephalopod's not out of this one yet. He does still have an Undying Radiant Guardian that the single combat's going to put him back up to a pretty healthy life total. He can still get down this Vanguard Squire in order to, represent another fearsome blocker onto the Swain. BBG actually has a lot of spells that he really can't play in his hand. And Cephalopod still has this Concerted Strike as well. I don't think he's really in a bad spot, even though he hasn't found the Lux yet. And BBG has a big enough board that this Thresh has a potential to level.
So BBG, no, let's see, 2, 4. I'm thinking, does he have lethal after the fact? No, wait, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, so he couldn't 11-0 before this lifesteal goes off, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, this feels really bad, and I got to agree with you. I think Cephalopod is in a really good spot. Not drawing this Leviathan is starting to hurt him a little bit.
Something that I really hate about Legends of Runeterra stack interaction specifically is that like you can't play cards that don't have a legal target, I guess is the best way to put it, where like I can't Ravenous Flock and then throw a Mystic Shot on the stack after it so that the unit will be damaged when Flock actually hits it. But I guess that'd be too broken for, most card games work like that. You can't illegally target things, and if you do have an illegal target on resolution, the card fizzles. But I wish I could do that,
Yeah. Well, it's like, what you can't, like, are you talking about to kind of like bait people into thinking that you have something, or?
No, just for like specific interactions like this, where if I want to kill this Thresh on this stack, I need to throw out the Ravenous Flock first, followed by the Mystic Shot. I don't want to do it in 2 separate stacks, basically.
Oh, gotcha. I get what you're saying, yeah. Yep, I feel you.
Because the one thing that does happen in Legends of Runeterra that doesn't happen in any other card game that I know of is that if you play a unit with a skill that goes on the stack, you can't respond to that unless your opponent does.
Yeah, and it is interesting that we didn't actually see the Concerted Strike coming out on this Swain now. So, this Swain has just been sticking around, and Cephalopod really hanging on to this Concerted Strike here in hand. And on top of that, I just got to admit, like, this Rekindler, just chilling like the entire game because he can't manage to find a freaking Lux. Like, this is insane how far into this game we are, and Cephalopod's still 0 Luxes.
Yeah, it looks like BBG's actually going to run out both Ravenous Flocks in order to try and kill this Thresh and then Thermo Beam onto the one fearsome blocker. We know that the Concerted Strike is still available, so this isn't going to work out. But Cephalopod, importantly, doesn't fire off the Concerted Strike here, understanding that there could be another Swain that comes down after the fact, as well as, something else at his face to stun out this Cytheria unit, and then he will die. But BBG might have lethal anyway, just given the amount of attackers that he has.
We were just talking about, this is funny because we were talking about the house biters. So actually utilizing, because I still think they're trash late game, but actually utilizing them in the best absolute possible way that he can to go wide and deal a bunch of damage, because now this 3/3 will likely have to block the Swain. But we have the Concerted Strike here. If he decides...
Yeah, I think the Vile Feast as well. There's just too much lifesteal on the side of Cephalopod for BBG to get a final push here without the Swain surviving.
Now, here's the thing, though, right? Like, Cephalopod still is digging for a Lux, and a lot of 6-cost spells have already been used.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't need Lux. He's got an Undying Radiant Guardian.
Well, he needs Lux if Leviathan comes down.
That's true.
So that's the thing. It's like if Cephalopod goes so into the late game to the point where there's almost no spells left to even put with Lux, and the Concerted Strike ends up getting pulled out here, the Leviathans are just going to stick to board and not allow Cephalopod to do anything.
Yeah, he needs to get Little Leviathan down with the Swain, though, and he might be in danger of just dying to the Radiant Guardian in the meantime. I think he needs the Leviathan as the next top deck, because he's going to take 5 damage from this Radiant Guardian. He's probably going to attack with his entire board here.
Yeah, I mean, wait.
I am so surprised that he just passed, given that Cephalopod only had 1/1 blockers.
Wait, what? Did he just... I think he just mouthed that he screwed that up. There's no freaking way that that's ever the right play, right? That's gotta be 1, 2, 3. Would he have healed it anyway? I feel like that's the right. That's so weird. I don't know. Any chip damage is good damage. I mean, he's probably gonna heal it back up anyways with the.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to put anything within range of Vile Feast.
You've already gotten 2 Vile Feasts out of your opponent.
Yeah, that just seems kind of weird. I mean, sure, you have more blockers that are healthier now, but we'll...
and now Cephalopod gets to... gonna fire off the Glimpse Beyond. He has Thresh in the Death Pool now, so this Rekindler actually can get value, but like you had mentioned, could still be digging for that Lux.
Yeah, we'll see what he ends up getting here in a second, since since his stream is a tad behind BBG's here. Yeah, it looks like is a Vanguard Sergeant and another Concerted Strike. Okay, we're gonna see
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah. Now, all right. For Demacia, his board's decently wide. For Demacia, so this is what I was talking about earlier. I'd like to see For Demacia do some work here, and we might actually see that. I think this is where BBG just loses the game. I actually think that For Demacia probably doesn't even make a difference, right?
I mean, he doesn't have mana for it currently. You do get to clean up a little bit of the board, which is why I'm surprised that BBG didn't attack last turn, just to clean up some of the board of Cephalopod and start pushing through damage in impactful ways if you can get a stun down onto this Radiant Guardian. Because if you draw the Leviathan now, it could take you too long to actually win the game.
Okay, well, that's huge. Wow. Okay, he just got Progress Day.
Oh, man. Okay, so he's got double Leviathan, which is kind of what he needed, given that there's still a Concerted Strike on the side of Cephalopod with the 4 Demacia that does still represent, 8 damage coming down. There's not a lot of removal left for BBG.
He does live, I think, next turn?
Very narrowly.
I think he barely lives. I think he takes 1. Oh, no, well, he could pull it with Thresh, so... Or no, yeah, that would still be 1 damage.
We could even see Concerted Strike come out here to give Cephalopod the best possible open attack.
Looks like it's not it. Oh, okay. And the Death's... No, he has no Swain on the field. Death's Hand doesn't really do too much. Our Death's Hand could, with the Noxian Guillotine, do something. If he does decide to play another larger unit, because he's already going to be able to block or, the Thresh will challenge something. Should be able to Noxian Guillotine the Thresh. So if he does have... Okay, this Lux... Well, the Lux is going to have Barrier. If he just plays the Lux, then it goes back over to BBG. He can actually play the Leviathan. So I do think BBG lives here.
I think he might die to Final Spark on a later turn, though, just because he has 2 1-health units left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're probably going to block here, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I think you have to play the Leviathan. I don't see... Yeah, there is still a Concerted Strike in Cephalopod's hand. So, and even a box. I mean, the box only does 3 damage to the Leviathan, but did BBG just pass?
Yes. And now he's in an awkward position. This 4 Demacia means that Death's Hand doesn't actually kill anything, because even if you kill the Spiderling, then your opponent gets to... Or you kill the Hapless Aristocrat, the Spiderling gets out, that gets buffed by 4 Demacia. But now with the Final Spark, I'm pretty sure this is just lethal this turn from Cephalopod.
He should have... Oh, no, that would have still given a token. I was going to say Death's Hand, the Hapless Aristocrat, but it wouldn't have mattered. So, yeah, I do think this is game here, right here. So, wow.
All right, Gigas is into top 4, he says. So that side of the bracket, Andy Dusty versus Gigas is going on in top 4.
Congrats, Gigas. Looking forward to seeing who wins that one. And you got to bear with us here. It might take a little while.
So I think it's just Smash GG doing Smash GG things, but it says that BrusiedByGod is currently in match with Jubilu after Cephalopod got disqualified.
Well, you know, with how things went earlier today, I wouldn't be surprised if we're in like an alternate reality right now, and this game is like not even actually happening. But hey, you know,
this is the Dark Universe top 8.
Yeah, the shadow. This is the Shadow Realm.
But given I don't think there's a significant delay on BBG stream, I think we would have noticed by now if Cephalopod was actually DQ'd. I think because we had this problem, I think last Duels of Runeterra where it just randomly DQ'd Sora and moved his opponent onto the top 4.
Yeah, 100%. So I think we're good. I think that's just some sort of Smash GG stuff, but
yeah, Smash GG just randomly DQs players sometimes.
Oh, so a Gigas, it's apparently a rematch. So let's go. All right, sweet. Well, use that rematch to your advantage, man. Good luck in the game. We will be chilling, chilling with this game starting super late here. We'll see if BBG or Cephalopod is going to be able to take it home, and I feel like they've probably played each other so many times too, BBG and Cephalopod in top cuts. I mean, these are two regular names here in the top 16 of Duels of Runeterra.
I miss aggro formats.
Did you just wait? Are we talking like burn aggro or like?
I mean, I'm just saying when Darrowing happened, I wasn't seeing no goddamn 108-minute top 16 matches.
See, this is what happens when everybody complains that we nerf burn. Look, guys, all right?
I want burn to be bad on ladder and good in tournament,
yeah.
which I think is the opposite of how it always works out.
Yeah, I don't think that's even possible. Because burn is it's like the small brain deck, right? It's just like super easy. Like burn and Bannerman, you just play your hand and hope you win. If you don't, then you just move on and probably concede to save time.
It's probably a little more complicated than that.
But... yeah, it's a little bit more complicated, but you catch the drift. So
we are going to get the Bilgewater mirror out now. Cephalopod moving over to his Twisted Fate Ezreal, and MF Sejuani on the side of BBG. He's actually been a big fan of this deck lately. He was one of the early adapters, I think, of it when it first came out, and then was one of the first players to go back to it after the nerf to Pilfered Goods.
Absolutely love this deck. This is one of Sero's babies. I know he loves this deck. I think he wrote an article on it for Team Tempo Storm, and I gotta say he was the one who originally I had spoken with it when it first popped up, or spoken with about when it first popped up. And God, I love this deck. I love the aggressiveness of the deck, 100%, and I love seeing Sejuani with a Leviathan. However, this is all right. So wait, is this this is Tempo Sejuani, right? Never mind. I'm thinking this is Leviathan Sejuani. So I take back what I said about Sero. Never mind. I don't know why I heard I think I really want Leviathan Sejuani to be like a thing again because I love playing that deck and nope. But Tempo Sejuani, another deck that I did also play a lot of, and I do love this as well. Anything really with Misfortune feels really good. Like it just feels so good to level Misfortune.
There are some players where I just notice things about their lineups the more we see them in Top Cut.
Yeah.
We always see Andy Desu with the possession. I feel like I always see Nola Gold on some kind of Draven Kato deck. Didn't happen in Fight Night, but generally when we see him in 3-deck formats, that there's one of those going to be in there. And BBG, I know he likes Lux, but I know he's also a big Bannerman player. BBG's just a fan of Demacia, and I think that this Pilfer deck is about as close as you get to Bannerman if you are committing your Lux elsewhere. So this feels like kind of BBG's dream format where he gets to essentially play 2 Demacia decks.
Yeah, you might be right here. I'm very curious how this how this match pans out to this game because I don't think we've seen a lot of the Misfortune Sejuani lately, right? Is there any time in the last, I don't know, even right before patch 1.6 drop that we were really seeing a ton of Misfortune Sejuani? I feel like it fell off a little bit.
Right after Pilfered Goods got nerfed, Winding God broke it out in Giant Slayer Fight Night, and then it just popped up everywhere again. It basically didn't affect the play rate of the deck at all.
Oh.
People just started cutting down to the Warning Shot, Fear of the North as the only spells in the deck.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like it was super popular and it lost popularity, so it must have, when Winding... I mean, hey, if Winding God plays something, people look at it, so...
That kind of feels like the rule. It's like, well, Winding God did it. And it's like, okay, you can play it then.
He has God in his name. He must be right.
And the Fury of the North actually to sort of kill one of these Yordle Grifters, not saving that to get a kill onto the Ezreal with a block on the Cutthroat next turn. Instead, just deciding he wants to push through as aggressively as possible. But the Pool Shark is a pretty good chump blocker.
Yeah, gotta love the Pool Shark. It's going to replace itself next turn, getting a sweet, sweet draw. We do see the Ezreal on board too, which... There's nothing really BBG I don't think there's any way. Oh, sorry, he's playing 3 Razor Scale Hunters, so he could actually get rid of it with a Razor Scale Hunter as well. Obviously, Riptide's a thing. Hired Gun, another unit that can give things vulnerable. So plenty of ways to remove it, but right now we don't see too much in his hand.
No, I feel like a lot of the times when you're playing a Bilgewater deck against an Ezreal deck, it really comes down to, can I stay at a healthy enough life total and board state that I can just one-shot them with Riptide Rex? Because typically Ezreal decks aren't running that many units, so the Riptide is much more impactful, both in terms of the damage that it provides on its ability, but also that 7 attack is almost certainly going to go through unblocked unless they string together multiple removal spells onto it.
Yeah, this Ezreal's going to hurt. I mean, the more procs of Ezreal's Nexus Strike that Cephalopod can get off, the worse this just is for BBG, because he's going to be able to start picking off units for essentially free, and that's going to catch up with BBG eventually.
Yeah, and a pretty bad draw off is Yordle Grifter. Getting this Make It Rain. It can kill the Ezreal here if you really want to. You could also just run out your Cutthroats. So BBG got some options. I don't think the Make It Rain is, super impactful. It does, as I said, represent a kill onto this Ezreal, but I think you would have preferred to... You would have been fine just blocking that with the Cutthroat a little bit later on.
Yeah, and it feels bad a little bit, I guess, to have all these Cutthroats in hand. I don't think you want all of them that early.
Oh, but he gets the Make It Rain up before any Cutthroats come down.
Oh, that is very good, yeah. It doesn't really matter, though, because we see another Make It Rain in Cephalopod's hand, so it's like...
No, I think that's the Make It Rain that got played. As we mentioned, Cephalopod's hand is a little bit behind.
Damn it. Oh, I got baited.
Yeah, I'm caught on. I got the third eye
baited. Oh, man. All right, he does not have another one, but he does have plenty of Mystic Shots, so, at some point, these Cutthroats probably aren't going to be around too long. We do see the one created by Ezreal used to get rid of this Jagged Butcher here, and yeah, that's not looking good for BBG. I mean, so much removal on the side of Cephalopod. BBG has only so many cards that are going to be able to keep up with advantage here.
Yeah, and BBG so far is just really not respecting this Ezreal on field. Says, you can go ahead and leave that there. I don't really care about it. I'm not throwing down this Razor Scale to deal with it. I want to steal more cards from you. Gets the Zonite Urchin. That's almost... I would assume that's actually just going to throw away a Warning Shot. That seems like sort of... maybe even the Cutthroat. Oh, and a Riptide picked up for Cephalopod. That's really scary for BBG, who has a pretty small board. And Cephalopod's hand wasn't looking great up until this point. He's kind of overloaded on Warning Shots and doesn't have great activators for him, but finds a timely Riptide. Yeah,
and we're going to see... Yeah, Riptide, I mean, top decking a Riptide, especially when you have 3 warnings, that's it just feels really good. It looks like he's actually going to go with the Mystic Shot first here before this Riptide comes down, probably on the next turn. We'll see if BBG plays some more units. If BBG starts to play like another Cutthroat or even the Zonite Urchin, it's going to start to feel bad. This Riptide Rex is just going to completely decimate his board.
Okay, so it is looking like it's going to be a discard onto the Warning Shot. Needs to find a Riptide of his own. That's a Razor Scale Hunter. That's not named Riptide Rex. And things are not looking great for BBG here. This Ezreal might even level off the Riptide. It's a matter of, do your units actually live long enough for me to get as many targets down as I need to? And we're going to have to see BBG use this Warning this Warning Shot, this Make It Rain sooner rather than later to prevent a leveled up Ezreal coming down alongside the Riptide.
Wow, so another, another Mystic Shot, too. I mean, why... All right, he's going to have a turn 8 Riptide. Is he just trying to do as much damage to face as possible with this Riptide?
I mean, even if that's the case, the Mystic Shot represents more damage at face.
Yeah, that's so weird. So I don't know why he's decided to Mystic Shot the Zonite. Maybe he's trying to bait BBG into thinking that there's no Riptide and he can just go wider?
I mean, if anything, you would Mystic Shot the Cutthroat, right, to get the elusive blocker off the field for your Ezreal?
Yeah, I agree. Or maybe he's just trying to save as much damage to his life total as possible. Maybe he understands like if this game goes later, he's in a better position. So that might be a thing. I don't know. I mean, because now if you just open with Riptide, it doesn't feel nearly as good because now you're going to get these Razor Scales to come down. I don't know. It just seems like kind of a wasted Mystic Shot. He'd be at 12, right? But he'd save a Mystic Shot in hand. So.
And so the one thing I haven't kept track of is how many of these Warning Shots does Cephalopod know are there? Because BBG has played multiple Grifters, but he also drew a Warning Shot.
Yeah, and he's playing, what, 3, right? Yeah, he's got 3 warning shots going all out with those warning shots in his deck. So he's got to assume there's going to be another one in his hand. But yeah, see, we're just going to see this Razor Scale trade nice and even with this Riptide. And that just seems like such a not optimal Riptide.
Yeah, and both players just kind of sitting on, relatively weak hands. Cephalopod with this hired gun and petty officer represents kind of a wide board, but Razor Scale Hunter's pretty adept at picking those apart.
Ugh, this even feels bad though for BBG to have to play a Razor Scale on a Pool Shark. That's just not the target you want there. I mean, sure, you'll be able to pick it off, but I don't know. The only upside he's got right now is that we know this Prowling Cutthroat is going to get through, but I don't know, man.
I mean, there is a make it rain still. I don't know if you necessarily want to use your Fury of the North to protect your Prowling Cutthroat.
Yeah, no. Do we like? All right, listen. Real talk though.
Okay.
Do we like Prowling Cutthroat?
I think I agree with Goblin that I like it in GP Sejuani, but here you're not really pushing for Sejuani level ups.
No, you're pushing for
which is kind of what it represents, is getting that consistent damage out every turn, which I do like in a Gangplank deck. But here, I mean, the Sejuani's not really the game plan that you're going for. And maybe you do think that there's going to be so much Bannerman that is something you're going to run into, where that off-turn Sejuani activator in the warning shot is going to be huge. You don't want to use those on your opponent's off-turns. But, I mean, I feel like it doesn't line up. Like, it just doesn't line up.
Yeah, I mean, just even in a Gangplank Sejuani deck, I still don't even incredibly like the card. Like, I feel like it's really a fringe decision if you absolutely want to just go all in on, leveling up your Gangplank and your Sejuani. So I just a little questionable in the deck building here, but he's obviously a top cut. And I've said this before, whenever we question deck building decisions, it's like, well, they're the ones in top cut, we're not. So
we didn't play in the tournament.
I know. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, he made it to top cut, right? So it can't have been that bad.
I think that there is a big sort of skill disparity in Legends of Runeterra currently. Like, anytime that you see the same players topping over and over again, especially as they're switching up their lineup every week, at a certain point you do have to say, okay, how much of this is your deck being a better deck than everybody else in the field, and how much of this is just you being that much better than all of sort of the mid-level opponents you're playing against, to the point where you can actually just top with anything.
So I gotta point this out. So the chat actually flagged Blevin saying cut note. So like I had to accept it so that it could be posted. I don't know why that was flagged. That's hysterical, but yep, yeah, more like cut note is right. I'm not a fan of that card for sure.
So did Cephalopod just can you just steal a Riptide Rex? Is that legal?
I mean,
can you do that?
Anything's legal with plunder decks.
I don't think plundering's legal. I think
Whoa. When you're a pirate, listen, have you seen One Piece? All right. When you're a pirate, plundering's legal.
What kind of human being has seen One Piece? There's 1,500 episodes of One Piece. Nobody's watched that. We all just think we'll watch the YouTube video recaps and be like, oh, I've seen One Piece. I watched a dude in an anime profile picture talk about it for 17 hours at a time. But nobody's watched One Piece. That's like, it'd take like 6 months straight.
Excuse me.
Actually, I think I mapped this out not too long ago. It was like 3 months straight or something of just watching One Piece.
Are you
Maybe
serious?
3 weeks.
That's how much long? Oh my god.
Yeah, there's like 900 something episodes.
Well, the episodes are only like what, 20 minutes though, so
23 minutes ish. Yeah. I mean,
well, you can skip through the intro and the outro.
Like hell, you can.
Oh my god. Well, listen. All right, I'm on like episode 160, I think. So I gotta.
Yeah. What did you skip all the filler up until that point?
Probably. Yeah. I got a little ways to go, but shout out to One Piece though. It's a pretty good game. So all right, it looks like BBG going down 0-2 there. So this is going to be rough for him to come back and try to take this one from Cephalopod.
Okay, so I mapped it out. If you watch One Piece for like 16 days straight, I think you catch up.
Oh, did you just do that?
Yeah.
Wait, whoa. Did you use a calculator?
Yeah, I used a calculator.
Okay, I'm just, dude, I don't trust. Well, listen, we don't trust each other's math, so I ain't trusting nothing unless it comes out of a calculator, okay? Oh,
so now Cephalopod actually up 2-0. Maybe we will get to see sort of a faster top 8 than anticipated.
Yeah.
And Cephalopod can just boost himself through to the top 4.
Cephalopod, thank the Lord. Look at you.
So this, I think that similarly, if I'm going to sit here and compare this deck to Bannerman over and over again, I do have to say that it also probably does not have a phenomenal Ash Noxus matchup.
You're saying BBG's deck has not so...
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
you are still a very board centric deck against a very anti-board kind of mid-range thing. You don't have any removal available to you. Your units are not going to trade effectively onto Cephalopod's units that are going to be much healthier and much more attack than yours.
Well, all right. Here's the skinny. All right.
All right.
There's you've seen the new pirate aggro deck floating around.
I have.
So I love that deck, and I actually so it's weird. Frostbite probably should usually kill that deck just because again it's a very board centric deck. I built one that is a little bit different. It went wide, and in situations where a deck like what BBG is playing, if he can go wide fast and find like petty officers and stuff and an early misfortune, which we see here on the board, I think he can actually win incredibly fast against Cephalopod before Cephalopod can really do anything about it. But it's a very tight window, right? Where like you're looking at like turn 5 or 6. If he can't put it away by then yeah, I think Frostbite just runs away with it.
Okay, yeah, so that Reckoning in Cephalopod's hand, how does BBG get around that one?
Yeah, see, so like I said, if he doesn't win by like turn 5 or 6, it's not going to happen. So, but same deal though, like that Pirate Aggro deck, Reckoning destroys it. But the thing is, it doesn't even matter because it's just able to continue to go wide, repopulate with petty officers and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, if he actually won't be able to next turn. So we're looking at the following attack turn. BBG could still open attack.
This isn't the hand to do it for BBG. This you're talking about refueling and going wide, and he's got cards that have cost 6 or more mana. This is really bad for him.
But like, all right, look at this board state, right?
Yeah.
If BBG had a petty officer right now, he would probably be able to go wide and open attack and have a really good shot at winning the game.
Yeah.
Because he's just all super aggression really early. And even here, I mean, like, I don't think you ever do this.
I was going to say, actually, if BBG just drew Fury of the North there, he just killed Cephalopod.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He knew I think BBG knew what he had to do here. Like, he had to just go all in and try to aggro him down super fast. But now you have... No, this hand's not good. Well, that's a turn too late. It would have been nice to have that on the last turn.
I mean, so Cephalopod does still have to close out the game here. And BBG's got a defensive Sejuani that he can play. I mean, if he can get to a Riptide turn, maybe he can mount some sort of comeback. Cephalopod's kind of gassed out, honestly, because the Sejuani will come down. That'll get like Sejuani or something along those lines. And these Iceveil Archers aren't going to stand up to the Rex super well. But yeah, things not looking good for BBG. I'd be a little surprised if he won, but I don't think he's necessarily out of this just yet.
I think the only way... All right, so he does have 2 Sejuani. I think if he plays... I think he needed to actually play Sejuani right there and not this petty officer. I think if he tried to go in with one Sejuani with another Fury of the North in hand from the other Sejuani, he could have done some overwhelm damage, maybe.
That's what he's doing next turn.
All right, okay, he's going to play it on his attack turn. There's a flash freeze in Cephalopod's hand, though, so it's like...
As well as multiple Iceveil Archers and some Sejuanis of his own.
See, so this is the point where it's like, Cephalopod, it's turn 6. BBG couldn't put it away. He's sitting at 9 health, and it's just he's going to have too many options to just negate anything that BBG does.
Yeah, now Cephalopod's going to go wide with these Iceveil Archers. Says, I've got a few too many of these. Let me play mana efficiently and actually get these down. Probably not going to see the Calling Strike come out. Yeah, we see a second Iceveil Archer. That makes a fair bit of sense. And you still bank spell mana into Sejuani Calling Strike on the following turn to negate anything that BBG tries to get down.
Yeah, and I got to agree with Valerian Blade in chat. Like, if he did go for the open attack there and not play that Razor Scale on that turn we were talking about, he would have put Cephalopod lower and at least given himself a chance to board wipe with Riptide for the win.
I don't think he could actually... I mean, he would have had to top deck a... What's it called? Oh, God. Warning Shot to actually get the Riptide activated, because I don't think Sejuani's ever actually touching Cephalopod's life total.
Yeah, that is a good point. There's too much Frostbite right now. Speaking of the devil. So that's one Frostbite that's at slow speed, too, and we still have plenty of other options in Cephalopod's hand, so this is just not looking too good right now.
Yeah, and Cephalopod with 2 Sejuani of his own also does have a Fury of the North, so he could... I think he just puts this away on the next turn.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a swift 3-0, and BBG, just not able to put this away fast enough, unfortunately, with, what is a very aggressive deck, right? I mean, you're running 6 1-drops. If he was able to curve out, like, Jagged Butcher, Black Market Merchant into Misfortune, into Petty Officer... I mean, it seems good, or even a Hired Gun as a 2-drop instead. But
he did though. He played Jagged Butcher into Hired Gun into Misfortune.
No, yeah, but he didn't play. He didn't draw the Petty Officer as well.
Oh yeah.
The most important part in what I was trying to, explain earlier is going
Oh,
wide.
yeah, was the petty officer.
Yeah, like you have to go wide. That's really what does it in this matchup. And you know what it was? Like the deck that I specifically built, it was playing not just petty officer, but house spiders, believe it or not. So
okay.
it was going so wide that it was literally impossible to block all the damage.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we had taken this into consideration, but BBG doesn't actually have Rex on curve.
Oh, okay, that is a good point.
Would have even had to live one more turn to get the Rex off to try and have some sort of agency in this match, but not going to be the case. Should be Cephalopod picking this one up here. Actually takes himself off Fury of the North mana.
I don't think it really matters at this point. I think that an open attack, no matter what BBG does, just wins him the game. And I think that's why we see the Shen emote. Unfortunately, BBG going down 3-0. Wow. So that's the exact opposite of the previous game that lasted 1 hour and 50 minutes. Yeah, I know.
Which is good. We kind of needed Cephalopod to make up for lost time here and get us through to this top 4 before we had the finalists decided on the other side of the matchup between Agigas and Anidesu.
Yeah, that was bad. It was such a long game. So I do want to pull up for everybody, though, what we have as far as the standing. So I think we have made it to the promised land. And by promised land, I mean the semi-finals. So we have Cephalopod versus Jubilu and Anidesu versus Gigas. And because Anidesu versus Gigas have already started, it looks like we're going to be doing Cephalopod in the semi-finals. Let's get it. All right, guys, that's it. That'll do it for top 8. Keep an eye out for all the other good top 16 action coming out on this channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you liked and enjoyed this match. And until next time, guys, everybody stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. And peace out.